It was one of the most beloved sitcoms of the late 1970s and 1980s, bringing laughter into millions of homes with its lighthearted humor and unforgettable catchphrases. Different Strokes wasn't just a TV show, it was a cultural phenomenon. With Gary Coleman's cheeky smile and his iconic line, "Watch you talkin' 'bout Willis?" The cast seemed destined for long, happy careers. But behind the bright lights and canned laughter, tragedy was quietly looming. What happened to the stars of Different Strokes after the cameras stopped rolling is a story filled with pain, heartbreak, and cautionary lessons that Hollywood would rather forget. At the center of the show was Gary Coleman, who played Arnold Jackson, the spunky younger brother adopted by a wealthy businessman. Gary became the breakout star, charming audiences with his wit and charisma. But off-screen, his life was anything but charming. As a child actor, Gary made millions, but a bitter battle with his parents and manager over money left him nearly penniless as an adult. Worse, his health plagued him for most of his life. Born with a congenital kidney condition, he endured countless medical procedures and never grew taller than 4 feet 8 inches. Despite his fame, Gary struggled with depression, financial instability, and constant media scrutiny. In 2010, at just 42 years old, Gary Coleman passed away after a fall at his home, leaving fans shocked and devastated. Todd Bridges, who played Willis Jackson, also faced struggles once the cameras stopped. While his on-screen persona was the protective older brother, his real life spiraled into addiction, run-ins with the law, and time spent in and out of courtrooms. Hollywood turned its back on him, and he seemed destined to become another tragic child star statistic. But Todd fought his way back. After years of personal battles, he eventually found sobriety and redemption. Today, he works as an advocate, sharing his story to help others avoid the same pitfalls. Of all the Different Strokes cast members, Todd Bridges is one of the few who managed to survive the storm, though his journey was long and painful. Then there was Dana Plato, who played Kimberly Drummond, the sweet and kind-hearted daughter of the wealthy family. Off-screen, Dana's life became one of the darkest cautionary tales in television history. Fame came quickly, but when the spotlight faded, she turned to drugs and struggled to maintain steady work. Personal troubles followed her everywhere: failed relationships, financial struggles, and brushes with the law. Her career never recovered, and her addictions only grew stronger. In 1999, Dana Plato tragically died of a drug overdose at just 34 years old, a haunting end that underscored the fragility of child stardom. To make matters even more heartbreaking, her son, Tyler, would later die by suicide in 2010, deepening the shadow over her legacy. Conrad Bain, the actor who played Philip Drummond, the warm-hearted millionaire who adopted Arnold and Willis, remained the most stable figure both on-screen and off. Known for his kindness and professionalism, Bain largely avoided the scandals that consumed his younger co-stars. He enjoyed a quiet life after the show ended, appearing in a few acting roles before retiring. Conrad Bain passed away peacefully in 2013 at the age of 89, remembered as the steady father figure who held the show together. Charlotte Rae, who occasionally appeared as the Drummonds' housekeeper, Edna Garrett, went on to star in her own successful spin-off, The Facts of Life. Though she battled cancer later in life, she continued working well into her 80s before passing away in 2018. Her career was one of the rare bright spots among the otherwise tragic stories of the Different Strokes family. Looking back, the legacy of Different Strokes is bittersweet. On screen, the show taught lessons about love, family, and acceptance. Off-screen, the cast became a heartbreaking example of the dark side of child stardom, fame, and the relentless pressures of Hollywood. What was once America's feel-good sitcom became, in hindsight, a story of survival, tragedy, and heartbreak. The laughter of Different Strokes may still echo through reruns, but behind every joke was a cast whose real lives remind us that fame often comes at an unbearable cost. What happened to them is not just a sad Hollywood story, it's a reminder that the brightest stars often hide the deepest struggles.